me today. I'm just trying to make sure that it's actually going over through to YouTube right now. So this is the first time I'm using this platform. Normally I use something called StreamYard, but I'm trying to use something called BeLive this time. So I'm, there we go. Yeah, okay, it looks like I'm up, which is really exciting. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So thank you everybody who has come out this morning to join me for some writing sprints. I'm actually part of a virtual writing retreat this morning. So for today and tomorrow, and it did happen yesterday, but I had to work all day, so it didn't really work out well for me. I'm doing a writing retreat with a bunch of friends that I have all over the US. And if you guys remember me from my channel, I'm from Canada. So it is really difficult for us to get together sometimes. So it is really, really great when we can get together to do a virtual writing retreat. We started doing these retreats last April, and it actually had nothing to do with the pandemic. We just couldn't make it work for us all to come together. So we decided to start having them online, so it was a little bit easier for travel, and then the world just kind of did what the world did, and it ended up being something super, super worthwhile for us. So the so it's, hold on a second. So it's has been really, really useful and really, really great. So we've been doing it yesterday, today, and tomorrow, but I figured I would join everybody else out there and we can do some writing sprints together on my channel. So if you are a subscriber or somebody who's normally been coming to my channel, thank you so much for coming out today. Hopefully this works out really well. I don't typically do a lot of writing sprints just because I haven't really been able to do it with the pandemic going on. It's usually pretty loud in my house. I have 2 teenage boys and a puppy, so they tend to make things a little bit more difficult. However, if this is something people are interested in, I would love to do them a little bit more going forward. So if you want to let me know in the comments what you like in writing sprints. Do you like them more during the week? Do you like them in the evenings, on the weekends, in the morning? What kind of writer are you? And once I kind of find out where people like to write and what time, then maybe I can start scheduling something at least once or twice a month so I can be doing this on a more regular basis. So I am hoping that I can see that there's a bunch of people that are here that are watching, so thank you so much for watching. If you want to type something in the comments there, that would be great. I'm not really seeing my comments coming through right now, so I'm just a little concerned about that. And so I just want to make sure that I am actually seeing everybody's stuff. I don't want to miss out on anyone here. So, whoa. So, getting reverb, my apologies. Okay, so there are people out there that are commenting and they just aren't quite coming through. So that's a little frustrating. Oh, here we go. Okay, so we do have a few people here. We have Candace Robinson is here. So hi, Candace, how are you? We have Dark Gray Sheep who is here as well. Hello. Allie Workington, nice to see you. She is one of the ladies that is in on our virtual writing retreat. And it turns out that Dark Gray Sheep is Leslie, and Leslie is one of the lovely ladies from Texas who is here for our writing retreat as well. So thank you so much for showing up. I don't want to talk too long. Obviously, we want to get to the sprints. So the first thing that I want to do with the sprints is I wanted to do maybe just a little bit of a warm up. I don't know about you guys, but I'm just starting writing for the day. So maybe we can start with a little teaser, maybe about 5-10 minutes just to get into it. However, if you guys have been writing for a while, drop them in the comments and we could definitely do something a little bit longer if you wanted to start out with like a 20 to 25 minute. So let's have a quick vote to see how long we want to be doing our first sprint. So how much time do you think we need for our first sprint? You just drop that in the comments there and we can get to that. So hopefully we're going to get some votes very soon. Otherwise, we'll just do a nice little warm up, get into it. I haven't gotten into this document probably in about a week. So it's going to take me a little while to remember where I was and get started again. So hopefully it won't take me too long to get back into my manuscript again. I'm really, really hoping that I'm going to make some serious headway on it this weekend. And so, okay, Allie's saying 10 to 15 minutes. So that sounds good. So let's start with, okay, we'll go with 15 minutes. 15 minutes is what we're going to do. to start out with. And then also, if you have some time, tell me what you're working on. What are you working on today? And what are you doing in your sprints that we're going to start? So I'm going to set up our timer for 15 minutes and 3 seconds. Just, just to make it fun. All right, so we are going to get started and we are going to get going on those sprints. So hopefully everybody's going to get some stuff done, and on your mark, get set, go. All right, guys, time is up. So 15 minutes, and hopefully you guys got a lot done there. But I am editing a section, so I got through reading the areas that I needed to do and fixing a couple little sentences. So then that way on our next sprint, I'll be able to actually just keep writing a whole lot more. The one that I'm working on right now is a witchy kind of book with it's got some Macbeth nods to it, and it's got some, fun demonic possession. So I've been really excited about this book. I've been working on it for a really long time, so I can't wait to be finished. However, I noticed a comment here from a dark gray sheep that she's got her witchy playlist going on this morning again. It is the Practical Magic playlist that is on Spotify, and it is so awesome. It's got a lot of Fleetwood Mac. It's got a lot of those like witchy sort of vibes to it. So if you are looking for a really cool like witchy playlist, that is one you should totally check out. The other one that I use a lot, actually, it's called the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina Nick Scratch playlist. So the Chilling Adventures one is really cool, but the Nick Scratch one I kind of like. It's got that very, I don't know, broken, dark romance kind of feel to it. So it's really kind of works for that angsty kind of teen book that I tend to write. So it's, and it looks like Candace is working on a witchy fantasy as well. So maybe you want to check out the Practical Magic playlist on Spotify. It is super, super awesome. And I do know you love your 80s hits as well, Candace. So there are a few in there that you will totally, totally love. Allie says that she is working on her paranormal romance, and we have been talking about her paranormal romance for a while. So this is going to be a epic series once she's completed it all. So hopefully she is going to get this one done because I cannot wait to read it. She's been talking about it for a while. So I'm super excited to check it out as well. So how did you guys do? Did you get a lot of pages done? Was it too short? Not short enough? You like to do a little bit shorter sprints. I think we're probably going to move into about 20 to 25 minutes going forward for the rest of it. So that's what we're going to do for our next one. Like I said, a lot of mine was just kind of reading and getting all that stuff checked out as to trying to remember where things were going. I know there's some advice out there that never finish a writing day at the beginning of a chapter because it's really overwhelming to come back in to write a chapter. But for me, when I leave myself off in the middle of a chapter, I spend so much time having to go back and figure out like where I left off and what I was doing last time, that it doesn't necessarily work the same way. I totally understand the logic behind it because it is totally overwhelming to start on a brand new page. But I kind of like to start fresh, but that's just me. So what do you think? What do you guys like to do? Do you like to end off in the middle of a chapter? Some people like to end off right in the middle of a sentence. Personally, for me, I like to start fresh. Starting fresh works better for me. So Allie says she likes to listen to trance and techno music when she's writing. There's definitely something to that in the sense that there's probably not as much and as many lyrics in that kind of thing. So you can probably just kind of like tune it out into the back of your head, which is great. And it would have a really good like positive vibe to it too, which is great. So Allie got 433 words. That's awesome for 15 minutes. Like that's fantastic. And we have a new person that's come in here. We have Celia Mulder, or women's author Celia Mulder. She hopped in late, but she's still getting some words done. So that's awesome, Celia. So I'm thinking we'll probably let's do a 25-minute one, build it up a little bit. Let's just go for it and get some stuff finished as well. One thing I did want to note is I don't normally have bright red lipstick on at, 9 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, but I am doing a live appearance for something called a Fall in Love with a New Author virtual signing that's going on this afternoon over on Facebook. It's been going on since Thursday, and Candace, who is also here in the room with us today, will be there on Sunday. So if you want to check out her books, you can obviously join that group. It's called Fall in Love with a New Author. So there are a ton of authors that are there. I think it's over 60 authors in total, and they are offering signed books as well. So you can go in, you can check out their books, you can sign up for signed books, or you can just like look at what they have to offer and then shop on your own. So if that's something you are interested in, then that is great. Dark Gray Sheep says she also likes to listen to World of Warcraft, Lord of the Rings, and Harry Potter soundtracks. I hear that a lot. Like a lot of people really like to hear Harry Potter soundtracks, I've heard. and video game soundtracks. Video game soundtracks are like super, super popular for people who write. I think it's that thing again where it kind of just has momentum, kind of like the techno music, but not as many lyrics. So maybe that's it, maybe it's not. I've never actually tried writing to it, so maybe I should do like a writing experiment of, hey, I tried to write to video game music for like a week and see how that goes. So that's very cool. And Candace says she loves my nail polish, so yay, thank you. It's just like a black gel, I think it's like an OPI one. I don't think it has a name, it's just like a number, but it was very cool, which is odd for OPI, but whatever. I think I got it at Winners. So we're going to jump right in with a 25-minute sprint this time, just build up right there. So hopefully, oh, that's 2 hours, and we don't want to do 2 hours, not quite yet. Got to build up to that a little bit. So we're going to do 25 minutes. Hopefully everybody is enjoying this so far, and you can let me know how you're doing, what kind of projects you're working on, and I would love to hear it. So let's get started. 25 minutes on the clock. On your mark, get set. And oops, let's share it first so you guys can see what I can see. That helps. On your mark, get set, and go. All right, guys. Time is up. So, how did we do this go around? For me, I finished the chapter I was working on, so that's very exciting. I didn't have a ton of stuff that I had left on that one. I was actually really, really close to finishing. So I did manage to knock that out in that 25 minutes. So that was wonderful for me. I don't know how anybody else did. So if you want to leave that in the comments, we can kind of chat about it. Also, if you haven't told me what your project is, feel free to mention that as well. The other thing I did want to mention is if you haven't, please make sure that you are going to hit that like button right below this video, because when you hit the like button, it lets YouTube know that people are watching this, and it'll let others know if they're looking for a sprinting group or something like that, that it's out here and that we're sprinting today. Hey, we have a new person joining in today. We have Oscar Winters. Hey, hello there. Hey, Oscar. How are you doing? And what are you working on this lovely Saturday morning? We've got a few different things going on in here. I'm working on a young adult paranormal. We've got a paranormal romance that's being worked on here. Celia Mulder says she got 956 words. You are just amazing. She is the best sprinter that I know of. She is just so fantastic. She writes super duper fast, and she also likes to write romantic comedy, which I love because she's super, super funny. So it's always fun to read her books. Audrey has joined us as well. 600 words for Audrey. Fantastic. She also has some brainstorming. Some of it is brainstorming, but I'm really happy about it. So that's awesome. So, you know, sometimes it's really hard when you're trying to get everything out, but you just haven't thought everything through yet. So sometimes you just do need to take that break to brainstorm, but hopefully it's working the way that you want it to. Candace said that she got 700 words. Not sure if they all make sense, but they're there. Absolutely. Sometimes I do the same thing. I've got it out there and it's just like, I just need to get it done. I need this chapter to be over. I've been working on the chapter way too long and I just need to get it finished and I can edit it later. It may not make sense, but that's what needs to happen. Allie says she got 888 words. So 888 seems like you should buy a lottery ticket or something. It sounds like a lucky number. So maybe you're set to have a really good day. Hopefully you are, and hopefully things are going well. So Audrey says she's working on a YA dystopia. So that's exciting. Another YA writer in the group. I'm usually like the lone wolf when it comes to writing YA with the people that I tend to sprint with, because most of them write contemporary romance or they're writing urban fantasy or something else like that that's catered to an adult audience. So I tend to be the only YA writer in a group. So it's kind of nice to have somebody else here that is writing YA as well. So I have a little bit of solidarity, so that's exciting. Celia says she's working on the first draft of a queer contemporary rom-com. So that is probably going to be awesome because, like I said, Celia is super duper funny. If you haven't checked out any of her books, she did write something called the Celebrity Spin Doctor series. So I believe the first 2 books are out in that series, and it follows some characters who are in Hollywood and some of the paparazzi issues and other things that go on there. It's a really great series, super duper fun, and you guys should check it out if you're into contemporary romantic comedy. Oscar says he's working on his first novel ever. Yay! That's exciting. It's about regret from the eyes of from an elderly lady. Right now I'm working on a sword fight with foam swords in a swimming pool. It makes sense, trust me. I do trust you. That is awesome. It's one of those things you never get to write your first novel ever again, right? Like once you've put out some work into the world, after you've published your first book, after, you never get to have that first book ever again. So that is super exciting. And I really hope that you're enjoying like the journey of writing and really enjoying, just being a writer and getting to do those sorts of things. Because once you get into, publication and all that sort of stuff, there's all this marketing and other things that you have to do that kind of takes away a little bit from just that joy of just writing for no one else and getting stuff done. So that is super cool, and I'm actually a little bit jealous. And he also says YA dystopia is great fun for all ages. It sure is. My son actually just started reading The Hunger Games, and I was so pumped that he's finally at that age now that he can, get into those sorts of books. And I'm really, really pumped. As I said, it's like as soon as you're finished, I'm like, I have a whole list of ones for you to read. Plus, you can read mine if you want. I did write young adult sort of dystopian. It was kind of like a near future dystopian, maybe like 10 iPhones up, not super, super crazy, but it did have to do with like a pandemic and a vaccine program and a corrupt government. So I'm thinking maybe it should be shelved under nonfiction now instead of dystopia, but whatever, it is what it is. Celia says, thank you for the shout out, obviously, because she's awesome and I have very awesome writer friends. There are some really great authors that are already in this book. I already talked about Candace. She's going to be doing a virtual book signing tomorrow. I'm doing mine today for the same event. Fall in love with a new author over on Facebook. So if you do want to check that out and see what else is out there, you are more than welcome to do so. So we are going to get into our next sprint. The one thing I did want to mention, however, is I do find that, I don't know about you guys, but I think I make like weird faces when I'm writing. So I think I get like intense face. And I don't think I've done it yet, but sometimes if I'm really, really concentrating on something, I'll like stick my tongue out a little bit, like this, as I'm writing. So I don't know if anybody else has any like weird, quirky things that they do when they're concentrating or when they're writing. I'm a little bit more exposed, obviously, being on screen here in front of all of you. But if you do, put that in the comments because I would love to hopefully hear that you guys have other weird, quirky things that you do when you're writing. Also, if any of you are here and you have not subscribed to my channel, you are more than welcome to do so. I do put out content every Thursday on writing and publishing. I tend to be a little bit more focused on things. So lately I've been doing compares with like Ingram Spark and KDP. I'll talk about planning for writers. I talk about like writing dual POV, how to self-edit, all of those sorts of things. I've got some really great videos coming up shortly about like book links and brand audits and really cool stuff. And then periodically I'll put out some extra things like vlogs or like goal setting types of videos. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can definitely hit the subscribe button below this video and the notification bell if you want to get an email every time I put something new up. But if you're just here to write, that's cool too. However, if you are ever interested in checking out my stuff, it is definitely here. So Oscar says, I actually have a master's in global marketing and a master's in media psychology. So I love that side of it. I'm also a woman in secret. That is awesome. So that like, it's really cool the amount of research and stuff that people can bring into their books. Like when people come from various different backgrounds and stuff and bring their own experience into what they're writing, it's really, really neat. I actually have a bachelor's degree in criminology and a honors degree in accounting. So when it comes to writing, I have a very different kind of vibe to things. I took youth and crime, I like classes. I also took Greek and Roman mythology courses in university. So I can bring that sort of stuff into what I'm writing, which is super duper fun. There's a lot of people out there that you would be amazed that are authors that what they do for a day job or what they are interested in or what they have on the side. There is an author that I worked with on a collaboration project, and she actually has a degree in Egyptology, which is super duper cool. And she has tons of books out, but she's only just starting to write a series with Egyptian mythology. And I cannot wait to read it because I'm sure it's going to be super duper accurate. Plus, she writes like really cool paranormal stuff. So that is Laura Greenwood, if anybody's interested, and she's super duper cool. So if you guys want to check that out, that is awesome. So we are getting a few more people in here. Hello, hope all is well. Things are well. We are writing. People are getting their words down. People are like getting stuff done here on a Saturday morning. So we are going to jump into our next sprint. Hopefully this time I'm going to make sure that I hit my timer instead of skipping it like last time. Thanks to everybody who shouted out that I missed hitting it. But we are going to do a 25 minutes and 25 seconds today, just because to make it interesting. So, on your mark, get set, go. And that's it, folks. We finished another sprint, 25 minutes and 25 seconds. And I do see we have another person with us. We have Tanya from Tanya's Writing Realm. She does these writing sprints a lot more often than I do. Tends to be on Sunday mornings usually. So if you ever are online and you're looking for somebody to sprint with, you should always check her out. She also has a great AuthorTube channel here as well. So if you are looking for some other content, you can check her out. She's very techy. So when it comes to things like Pro Writing Aid and stuff like that, that's a little bit more technical savvy, she is going to be better at it than I am. So if you are looking for somebody that's a little bit more technical, you can always head over to her channel. But let me know how you guys did on this last sprint. For me, I basically got my next chapter set up. I kind of read through the things that I want to change and made myself some notes on where I need to make those edits. I probably will make some of them in the next sprint, but I was getting close towards the end there, so I didn't want to jump into anything too much that I knew I was going to have to take a break and then get back to it. So hopefully you guys got some words in. So let me know how that went for you and how things are going. We are working on a lot of different things in here. I'm working on my witchy YA novel that I'm hoping will come out soon. We have some other witchy type of books that are being worked on here. We've got some dystopian and we have some other ones as well. So we are just tripping along here. We have some really great word counts coming out of these sprints, 20-25 minutes. We have Allie Workington. She had 817 minutes and finished the end of the scene, just started the next one. So that is awesome, Allie. Celia, she had 874 words. So that's awesome. And Candace Robinson, she got to finish her chapter. So that must feel pretty good. I love when I finish a chapter. It doesn't really matter how many words is in a chapter, but for some reason, just having that I finished thing happening just totally makes me feel better and feels like I've accomplished something, even though, you know, I do write generally short chapters. Most of my chapters are about 1,500 words, unless I'm like super, super into it, then it's going to be like the 2,000 to 2,500 when it's like those big scenes, you know, towards your climax, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, Audrey got 715 words. That's awesome, Audrey. And Kristen, over 400 words written on her main character. She is working on outlining a book right now. So she's outlining everything in a lot of detail. So she got 400 words on that, which is awesome. Tanya says she managed 1,500 words early this morning, waking up earlier than her household. Well, that is an accomplishment. First off, getting up before your household and not waking anybody up is an accomplishment within itself. And I'm not a morning person, so just for you to do that just kind of gives me the creeps because I hate getting up early in the morning. However, I know this is something I should probably do. There's so many people who do like the 5 a.m. writing challenge that I would really like to get on top of, but in my household during the week, everybody's usually up by 6:15 anyway, so it's not like I'd really get that much done. I'm actually thinking about doing a challenge where I do like a night owl challenge, where instead of going to bed at like 9 o'clock, I would stay up and write from like 9 to 11 or like 9 to 12 kind of thing to get stuff done. However, I'm usually really, really tired, but I'm going to try to maybe push through that. And if that's something you guys would be interested in, let me know. And maybe I will like vlog that challenge and actually try it for a week and see what happens. So we have, working on my first book, we have another book virgin in the room, which is great. Only added 30 words. Well, that's 30 words more than you had a few minutes ago. Like I was talking about before, I love first books because you can only do a first book once. So, you know, enjoy that process, enjoy, you know, just the discovery of writing and all of those really cool things that you can do and just writing for yourself. Like, I know you're probably writing for an audience and you want somebody to read it eventually, but, you know, you're writing your first book is really for you, which is totally, totally awesome. And I'm super jealous of that. Oxford says, I nearly completed a scene, but that I was struggling with. That is, oh, so great. Every time you're struggling with something, you finally finish it. It just feels like so much more of an accomplishment. Congrats to everyone who wrote so many words. I'm not such a fast writer. I'm not a hugely fast writer either. So everybody writes at their own speed. However, in these things, you're going to see kind of all over the board. You know, you saw some people with 400 words. You saw people with like 800 words. You saw people with like 1,500 words in the morning. But fact of the matter is, like, everybody writes at their own speed, and it depends on what they're doing too. Like, if you are in something really in depth and you have to think through it a lot, it's going to be a lot harder. If you're writing a scene that's going to be mainly dialogue or something like that, or you've spent your whole week coming up with a description and knowing what you want to write when you sit down, it's going to come out a whole lot faster. So a lot of that just takes time, practice, and some of it's just personality type, and there's not really anything you can do about it. So, so I'm mostly writing to get the story out of my head. It's been stuck in my head for 10 years. Yeah, that's a good place to put it, because you can't really edit a blank page. I'm sure everybody's heard that adage before. It is one of those things where, you know, sometimes you just got to get it out. And some people I've heard call it a zero draft or a vomit draft, where you're basically just getting everything, like you are not paying attention to anything. You are just getting the story out of your head. It's basically like a really fancy outline, essentially. You are just doing this whole summary and just getting it out of your head, and then you can work with what you have. It's basically like creating the clay to build your statue or what have you. So there is no wrong way to write. You do what you need to do. Some people write super duper clean, so they will, you know, they're not going to sit down until they have absolutely everything outlined and every single piece is figured out. And then when they write, those chapters aren't going to change much from the first draft to the last draft, because, you know, everything is planned and figured out, and that's how they write, because they're super meticulous. Some people just, you know, put it out there, see what sticks, and then, you know, cut and change things, and that's their creative process. So you just kind of have to do what works for you. You work at the speed that works for you, and as long as you're happy with what you're doing, that's all that really matters. So we are getting towards the end of our 2 hours. So this next one's probably going to be about 15 minutes, just to kind of take us down a little bit. I kind of feel like I'm working at like Soul Cycle or something, and be like, yeah, we're going to do a little bit of warm up, and now we're just going to do a bit of a cool down. So I am going to sit here and I'm going to start working on this next chapter, where I've made myself some edits. Hopefully you guys are doing something that you love. And yeah, we're going to do this for 15 minutes and see what happens. So if you do like sprinting with me, I would like to do this a little bit more often, but please let me know what kind of times and days you'd be interested in. So if you are a weekday writer, if you would like to be more in the evenings, more in the mornings, more on the weekends, I would like to try to get like a regular time slot rather than just kind of popping in whenever I want to, like I did this time. And yeah, so I probably wouldn't do it every single week, but maybe like twice a month or once a month or something, so that some way people can look forward to it and come out. So if you have any comments on that or any thoughts, definitely leave that in the comments here, and we are going to go into our last sprint of the day. You guys have been doing so amazingly well. I'm really impressed at the amount of words that people have been putting out, and it's really cool to hear everybody's different projects that they're doing. So I'm super duper pumped about that. So we're going to go into our last sprint for 15 minutes, and everybody on your mark, get set, and go. And we are done. Way to go, guys. You held all the way through, some of you for the entire 2 hours. I did ask a question before we started. If you did like this, what kind of time of day or whatever would you prefer for sprinting? So Celia Mulder said, I really like Saturday morning sprinting. So, you know, clearly this spot works, which is really good. Morning sprinting is my fave, is what Candace said. And Oscar says, I would just love to do this again. Well, I definitely want to do this again. So I don't have a set date, but maybe watch my channel. I do like to plan them a little bit in advance so that I can schedule it out a little bit. I am using a platform called BeLive. I know some people will use StreamYard, but I am using a platform called BeLive that I really like. And I can schedule things out a little bit in advance. So if you want, you can definitely see what I have coming up and all that sort of stuff. I won't schedule too far out, but I will definitely start scheduling some of these things if this is something that people are interested in. Audrey says that she loves Saturday morning too, so perfect. Says, oh, did I miss 2 hours? Yes, I did do 2 hours. So I think 2 hours is probably like a really good place for people. It's not too, like an hour I find just like way too short. But I don't usually do like all day kind of things either. Maybe one day I would do like a 12-hour or something and just stay on and let anybody who wants to come in. That would be really fun. If that's something some people are interested in, maybe I'd try doing that one time. Oscar also says, really like the morning sprints, but I live in Italy. Fair enough. I've been to Italy once and it was lovely. I really, really liked it there. Cecilia says 487 words this time. I'm going to hop off so I can keep writing and hit my morning page goal. Absolutely. I will see you later. Celia is one of the people in my virtual writing retreat, so I will be spending more time with her today and tomorrow. So hopefully she's going to hit her goals, because if she doesn't, she's going to be mad at me for keeping her from finishing them. Allison has 441 words. Things are flowing now. That's awesome. So hopefully she's going to keep going after this is over and just get more words happening. So if anybody else has any word goals that they want to talk about, definitely put it in the comments and we can bring it up here. But if you are new to this channel, new to me, I am Scarlett Kol. I am a young adult author of fairy tale fantasy, paranormal, and dystopian YA fiction. Kristen says she got 420 words towards her main character. That is awesome, Kristen. So yeah, and I have an AuthorTube channel that I have where I post every single Thursday on topics about writing and publishing. I am a self-published author, plus I am also a small press author. My first 2 books came out with small presses, and then everything since then has been self-published, and that is a choice that I made myself because I'm just a bit of a control freak. So I like to be involved in all steps of the process. So if you are interested in that sort of stuff, hit the subscribe bar and the notification bell below this video. And if you haven't already, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up like button below this video as well. So Oscar says, my goal is to finish chapter 2 right now. Well, that is awesome. So hopefully you will get more words in this afternoon and you will finish that chapter 2. And the next time that we have this going on, you're going to be so much further in this first book. Candace says, thanks so much for doing this, 445 words. Thank you so much for joining me, Candace. Candace is another author that I've done some promotion stuff with, and she is really, really great, super fun personality. She's over on TikTok, she's on Instagram, she's on Facebook, she's on all of those great things. And hopefully she enjoyed this, because I think this is the first time she's ever come out for Word Sprints, so that's great. So says, did I not get much control? I usually, like with small presses, you get a lot more control than you get for traditional publishing, but I like to be able to plan everything for my covers. I like to be in control of the launch. I like to be able to see my sales data on a regular, like on a daily basis. When you are with a publisher, you do not see that information very timely, just because they kind of control that information. You can't just access it. If you had a thing at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you want to know what your sales are, I can just go on and check. Whereas when you're with a small publisher or a large publisher, you really don't have that opportunity to do that. There's definitely benefits and pitfalls to self-publishing. I actually did a series on my channel that is the benefits of self-publishing and the pitfalls of self-publishing, and it's kind of balancing between the two as to what are the really great reasons to go the traditional publishing route, and what are some of the reasons why self-publishing might be for you. So I tried to be really positive on that. However, if you do want to check it out, it is on my channel, and I try to, because some people just don't like to do those sorts of things. Celia, that was in the room here, she's not super interested in self-publishing. She said like she might with a few different projects if they just don't fit where she wants them to fit. But she's like, honestly, I just want to write. Like, I'm not interested in learning all the things that I've had to learn to be a self-publisher. So, it really depends on your personality, depends on how much time you have, depends on what you want to do. For me, I knew I would self-publish before I was traditionally published, because I knew that I would want to have my fingers in everything, even if it was just for one project, that I would want to do that. So, it really just depends on the person. It depends on your project, and it depends on what you want to do with it. So if you want, check out those videos. If you have more questions for me on that, you can always pop me an email or catch me on any of my socials. I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube. And I have an account on Hive, but for some reason I can't get into it. So if you want to catch up with me on any of those, I would love to answer any of your questions if you do have them, because sometimes it's hard just to get somebody to give you an honest answer. And I'm all about transparency with this sort of stuff. So Audrey says, this is awesome. Thanks for doing this. See you next time. Absolutely. So I will definitely post that on my Instagram. I'll post it on my Facebook if I decide to do another one. So if you do catch me on any of those other social media platforms, I will be there. Oscar, I'm worried if I self-publish that I won't know if I'm good enough. I just don't want to publish a bad book. Fair enough. There are a lot of other areas that you could, like, you can get beta readers. If you like, I fully endorse getting an editor if you are self-publishing. Some people, like, it can be a contentious issue, but if you are getting an editor, you can get a developmental editor that's going to look through the details like you would with a traditional publisher. There are a lot of other routes as well, and there's even free routes as well. One of the things, like Tanya that was in the group here, she was part of a critique group that I was involved in. I would go to the library the second Saturday of every month, and we would critique each other's work, and we would be able to read out chapters and have people go through that. And it's a way that you can get to meet other people. You can get your work out there, because that's one of the hardest things as an author, is just letting it go and letting people read it and, consume that information, being okay with that. So, getting into critique groups, letting other people read your writing, having beta readers, going with a developmental edit if that's what you want to do for your first few books. Like, there are ways to know if you have a good book before publishing it, even if you do self-publish. I did like going the traditional route. There is definitely, something to the fact that somebody was willing to take a chance on my book and that they wanted to do that. So there is something there that I know that, I put out a good book and I was happy with that. But there are ways around it, and there are definitely other avenues if that's something you want to do. However, both methods to publishing are totally valid, and it just kind of depends on what you want to do and what's going to make you happy. So in the end, do what's going to make you happy. But thank you so much for everybody who joined me today for my writing sprints. Like I said, keep an eye on my channel, and when I get a set date and start doing this on a regular basis, you guys will be the first to know. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you all later.